So, you want to make a movie, maybe a thrilling action or a heart-tingling romance, or maybe even an educational documentary, but you're not sure where to start. With production values in the 6, 7, or even 8 digits, it can be quite overwhelming, but you're in luck. All you need to make a great movie is a camera, editing software, and a cast that'll work for cheap. However, before you get carried away, you should probably know a little bit something about shot composition. Shot composition is everything that makes the movie pretty. Not like that. It's everything from lighting to character placement. And some important aspects of it are the rule of thirds, the shot types themselves, and the 180 rule. If utilized correctly, these little things can make a huge difference in your project. When designing a shot, one of the first things to consider is where to place people in the shot itself. Now obviously there are many different ways to place a person into a shot, all of them giving off a distinct feel or emotion. Playing around with the various locations, angles, and layouts can produce a wide variety of artistic scenes, but it can also help to develop your own distinct style. However, when you first start out making your own movies, it's best to stick to what's called the rule of thirds. If you've ever taken a photography class, you're probably already familiar with this subject. The rule of thirds states that if you were to divide the shot into thirds, the eye would naturally tend to go towards those thirds. Now, what that means is if you divide the shot into thirds vertically and horizontally, the audience will naturally look at those sections of the shot. So photographers can use that to make the audience focus in on certain things. They put the subject at these thirds. Or they can actually put them not on the thirds to have this kind of discomfort that the audience feels. And if you've taken a film class, you probably already realized that film is just a bunch of pictures appearing on screen rapidly.
It's logical then to say that film can use the rule of thirds to the same effect as photography by placing your subject so that he aligns himself with these thirds. You can bring and maintain attention to him.
Typically, the character is going to go on one of the vertical thirds, and his eye line will line up on the upper horizontal third. This ensures that the audience maintains attention on him. And when you're dealing with a character that's talking, you want to give him what's called speaking room. The reason for this is if you imagine that the character is giving, when he talks, it gives off a speech bubble. And if you don't give him enough room, it'll swell and swell until pop, no more character. For example,
Nathan, really don't have time for this right now. I have this paper that's due, like...
Now that you know how to set up your character, it's time to set up some shots. There are many different qualities to consider when deciding which kind of shot to use. Probably the first thing is the distance from the camera and the character. There's the extreme close-up, the close-up, the medium shot, the long shot, and the extreme long shot,
Also called an establishing shot because it is usually used as the first shot in a scene in order to establish the environment.
You can also add angle to your shot, giving it an added feel. For example, a low angle shot will give the character an empowered feel,
while a high angle shot will make them feel diminished.
Some popular types of shots include the point of view shot, an insert shot, a panning shot,
An over the shoulder shot,
front tracking shot,
rear tracking shot, and a side tracking shot. There's also the tilt, the head in, and the tail away, and the drive-by. Before you start using your newfound knowledge, make sure to consider the 180 rule, also known as crossing the line. What this rule means is if you imagine a line going through the middle of your scene, your camera should not cross that line. You should only film in that 180-degree area, because if you suddenly flip sides of a scene, it will jar and confuse the audience.
Alright, I know I've spouted out a lot of information, so let's recap. After you've gotten everything you need for a movie, keep in mind the rule of thirds, shot types, shot movement, and of course the 180 rule. If you keep these things in mind, you'll be on your way to making masterpieces in no time. Or at least passable B-movie material. Thanks for watching. See you next time.